When the sun rose that morning, a city was missing. Not damaged. Not abandoned. Not conquered. Gone. Where homes had stood the night before, there was only water, mud, and silence. No smoke. No survivors calling for help. No movement at all. An entire Greek city had vanished while its people slept, leaving behind nothing but a shallow lagoon and unanswered questions. No one understood how it happened. Not the nearby towns. Not the sailors who passed the coast. Not the scholars who would later write about it in disbelief. Even centuries afterward, travelers claimed they could still see rooftops and stone columns beneath the water, frozen in time, just out of reach. The city was called Helike. And for more than 2,000 years, no one could explain how it disappeared in a single night. Before its destruction, Helike was not obscure. It was not weak. It was not isolated. It was one of the most powerful cities along the Gulf of Corinth, controlling trade routes that linked mainland Greece to the Peloponnese. Merchants passed through its harbors. Pilgrims traveled to its sanctuaries. Its influence reached far beyond its borders. At the heart of the city stood a massive temple dedicated to Poseidon, god of the sea, storms, and earthquakes. The people of Helike believed this connection made him protected, favored, watched over. It was a belief shared by many ancient cities. And it would prove to be a fatal assumption. In the days before Helike vanished, something felt wrong. Ancient accounts describe animals leaving the city in large numbers. Rats and snakes disappeared. Birds abandoned the coastline. Dogs refused to settle. Fishermen claimed the sea had grown unnaturally calm, heavy and silent, as if it were waiting. These signs were noticed, but not understood. Earthquakes were common in Greece. Helike had survived them before. No one fled. No one prepared. Then, in the winter of 373 BCE, everything changed. Sometime during the night, the ground beneath Helike began to shake. Not gently. Not gradually. Violently. Buildings collapsed almost immediately. Walls split apart. Roofs caved in. In the darkness, people were thrown from their beds as the earth lurched beneath them. But the ground did not simply crack. It failed. Solid streets turned unstable. Foundations lost their strength. Entire sections of the city began to sink as the soil beneath them liquefied. Homes tilted. Stone columns toppled. Fires broke out as lamps and hearths fell. Panic spread through the streets as people tried to escape a city that was collapsing under their feet. And then, the sea pulled away. Along the coast, the water suddenly retreated, exposing the seabed. Ships were left stranded. Fish flopped helplessly in the mud. To anyone who saw it, the sight would have been terrifying, but the worst was still coming. Moments later, the sea returned. A massive wall of water surged inland, smashing into what remained of Helike. The wave tore through collapsed buildings, sweeping debris, animals, and people back toward the shore. Anything still standing was ripped apart. Anything already fallen was buried. In a matter of minutes, the city was erased. What followed was not silence, but confusion. The ground continued to shift even after the sea withdrew. Survivors in nearby towns felt aftershocks ripple through the night. Some believed the earthquake had not finished with them. Others feared the sea would return again. No fires burned in Helike by morning. No voices carried across the water. Only debris floated where streets had once been. Wooden beams drifted alongside shattered pottery. Household objects bobbed briefly before sinking. The shoreline itself looked unfamiliar. Where solid ground had been, there was now waterlogged earth. Paths used for generations simply ended. The boundary between land and sea had vanished. Those who approached cautiously found no bodies on the shore. No wounded survivors emerged from the ruins. Helike had not expelled its people. It had taken them with it. Some claimed the city had sunk whole beneath the surface. Others believed it had been swallowed by the earth itself. No one could agree on what they were seeing. Only that Helike was gone. By dawn, Helike no longer existed. In its place was a shallow body of water filled with mud and wreckage. Survivors from nearby towns arrived to a horrifying scene. They reported seeing the tops of buildings beneath the surface. Stone walls. Broken columns. Even the great temple of Poseidon lay submerged, visible but unreachable, a cruel symbol of a city that believed itself protected. Word of the disaster spread quickly across Greece. Travelers came to see it for themselves. Fishermen claimed their nets caught on sunken rooftops. Some said the city below the water looked intact, as if time had stopped the moment it was destroyed. Others believed Helike had been punished by the gods for arrogance or impiety. Ancient writers preserved these accounts for centuries. Pausanias wrote of a city swallowed by the sea. Aelian described ruins still visible beneath the water. Strabo noted the region's unstable geology. Together, they recorded a catastrophe so complete that it bordered on unbelievable. And yet, as generations passed, Helike disappeared again, this time from memory. The coastline slowly changed. Sediment filled the lagoon. Earthquakes reshaped the land. What was once water became solid ground. The visible ruins vanished. Eventually, even the location of Helike was lost. Scholars searched offshore for centuries and found nothing. Some concluded the ancient writers had exaggerated. Others dismissed Helike as a legend, a moral tale mistaken for history. The mystery endured into the modern era. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, archaeologists continued searching the sea, convinced Helike lay beneath the waves. Expedition after expedition failed. No ruins. No temple. No city. The disappearance seemed impossible to explain. The breakthrough came when researchers changed a single assumption. Instead of searching underwater, they began studying the land itself. In the 1980s, a team of archaeologists and geologists conducted surveys along the coastal plain near Helike's supposed location. Beneath farmland and villages, they found thick layers of mud and debris, deposits consistent with violent flooding and ground liquefaction. Below those layers were roads, walls, pottery, and tools from a classical Greek city. Helike had been there all along. The earthquake had caused the ground beneath the city to liquefy, allowing it to collapse downward. The tsunami then buried it under water and sediment. Over centuries, the coastline shifted, sealing the ruins beneath dry land. Excavations revealed a city destroyed so suddenly that everyday objects were found exactly where they had been left. There was no evidence of evacuation. No signs of recovery. Helike had ended in a single night. Modern science revealed something even more unsettling. Helike's destruction was not unique. The Gulf of Corinth is one of the most seismically active regions in Europe. Earthquakes, tsunamis, and ground failure have reshaped the area repeatedly for thousands of years. Helike was not cursed. It was unlucky. Today, Helike stands as one of history's most haunting reminders of nature's power. It was wealthy, influential, religiously significant. And yet, it was erased almost instantly. Its story survived only because ancient writers recorded it, and because modern science finally proved it was real. Helike vanished overnight. But its lesson remains. Civilizations, no matter how confident or advanced, exist at the mercy of the ground beneath them. And sometimes, the earth does not warm. It simply opens.